Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Neil. I have end-stage liver cirrhosis. I know you wouldn't know by looking at me, but the liver's on the inside. Anyway, today's video, I want to talk a little bit about some of the symptoms that may lead to liver disease or cirrhosis. And I also want to talk about some of the complications that may come about with cirrhosis and with liver disease. First, I want to talk about a healthy liver. What does it do? Why do we have it? Well, for one, I can tell you it holds most of the blood in our body out of all the organs. It holds more blood than any other organ in your body. Not only that, you have what's called a portal vein. That portal vein helps to digest food with the blood going back and forth to burn those calories to digest those things. And that can be affected by liver cirrhosis. Also, things like bleeding varices, which are veins that shouldn't be there in the esophagus and in other places. Fluid buildup. Stomach, legs, even in the lung. I kept getting it in the right lung. It's not as common, but I've heard of a few people running into that situation. I would say though, the first symptom that you would run into would be just not feeling right. Just a feeling of malaise. You don't know what it is. You just don't feel right. You're weak. You don't have the strength. You don't have the energy you used to. Maybe you're losing muscle mass. Maybe you're nauseous more often. All those things can lead up to it. Throwing up. Fluid built up on the stomach. That big old beer belly. And a super skinny face and a big belly. That is a side effect as well. One of the more serious conditions, side effects to liver cirrhosis. But in most cases, there's no symptoms. They say about 50% of Americans walk around with some kind of fatty liver disease, and that's the next level of progression. So you're healthy, and then you have fatty liver disease. Fatty liver disease basically is just what it sounds like. It's the liver scarring and healing and swelling, and basically a lot of that can all be fixed by eating healthy, exercising, choosing a better lifestyle. Plus the energy alone that you would get from eating better and from exercising is worth it right there. A body in rest tends to stay in rest. Well, same thing, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. A flowing river continues moving, ever changes, new life grows. A stagnant pond dies, and so does whatever's in it. And if you have this liver disease, it's a terrible thing to be diagnosed with. Trust me, I know. But don't take it sitting down. That's step one. Step one is get up. Maybe you're not able to get up right now. When you can, get up. Get up as much as you can with what you got. It could be something as simple as just doing a project, writing something, maybe writing a poem, writing a letter. I've been finding it helpful to write some poems and to do some writing. I kind of shared one, although I messed up the end of it. I read it poorly. And anyway, I'm not the best at these videos, if you haven't told. I don't have any fancy beginning. I don't have fancy slides and other videos to show with it. I don't have visuals. I don't have any of that stuff. So thank you for putting up with me, for all 1,500 of you who's been following me. And again, if you like what you see, please follow, subscribe, and give a thumbs up to this video, please. It helps big time. But anyway, So you got the fatty liver, and you wind up running with those things like I've talked about. Not low appetite, not feeling well, headaches, nausea, just your normal flu kind of stuff. And as that progresses, your body starts eating its muscles, because your liver, one of the main jobs is to process proteins. And those proteins do so many things. They don't just gain muscle. They help you digest food. They help your organs run. They help you stay healthy. They fight off disease and sicknesses and viruses. There's so many other things that these things do for you. And they're so important. So, you know, and as things start to progress and tend to get a little bit worse, you may wind up running into things. Well, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So you have compensated and decompensated. Compensated is the next stage. It's basically liver disease. It's scarring and it's bad, but the liver's still functioning. The liver is still doing what it's supposed to do with little to no side effects. Maybe those things I talked about, not feeling well, feeling a malaise, you know, nauseousness, that kind of stuff. And then we go into the next stage, which is the cirrhosis, decompensated cirrhosis. That's when your liver stops functioning properly. You start noticing, the first thing I noticed was my muscles were going away. My body started eating my muscles, and I was a really strong guy. I worked in the automotive industry, lifting engines and rear differentials and stuff, and never had a problem with any of that stuff. I never knew how strong I was until I lost those muscles. I guess it's one of those things we tend to take for granted, those things that we have, that we never think that we have, and all of a sudden they're not there. And you know, imagine losing the ability to use your hands all of a sudden, or to be able to eat through your mouth, or you know, these things we take for granted that some people don't have. And we should keep that in mind and be thankful for all those little things. But anyway, so it starts eating the muscles. I remember I was getting weak. My face became really, really thin. My eyes were turning yellow. My skin was turning yellow. My belly got really big. And then what had happened was I wasn't able to breathe well. I couldn't walk from my living room to the bathroom without being so far out of breath that I couldn't walk another foot. Finally, when I went in, I had like 3 liters of fluid on my right lung, 5.5 liters on my stomach. So fluid is a big one. Why does it happen? Well, because your liver's not processing what's in your blood. They're not processing the moistures and the things like that out of the blood. So now they start leaking out through the veins and start depositing in places. The common ones in the abdomen, in the stomach area. That fluid gets between, there's a membrane that protects your organs, and the fluid starts building up between those membranes. And when they suck those fluids out, which you have to do to get rid of them, because you don't want them there, because you can get bacteria and get sick and all the other stuff, plus it can do other damage, So when they pull those fluids out, they're pulling some good stuff away too. So you really want to stay on top of keeping your fluids down. If they give you diuretics, take them. Stay on top of them. I know it's irritating to have to run to the bathroom every few minutes, but it's better than the alternative, So stay on top of those things. Keep your salt intake low. I don't add salt to really anything. Pretty much everything you buy is filled with salt. So, it already has plenty of salt in it. So I don't add to it. Another thing that's a major side effect or a symptom is varices. What are varices? Varices are veins that shouldn't be there. What happens is, think of it this way. Remember that portal vein I talked about? that main vein that aids in the digestion of food, well, it's a main blood source, and it passes right to the liver. Well, the liver starts hardening and starts clamping down on it. So that starts creating pressures where it shouldn't be. They call it portal hypertension. Wow, brain. They call it portal hypertension. Basically, it's that main vein being squeezed and creating excess pressures, and now that pressure has to go somewhere. Imagine, if you will, you're driving down the highway, and you're in the middle of the country, and all of a sudden, all the cars start stopping, and you start looking, and the next thing you know, all these other cars are driving off the road through the cornfields and creating their own roads. Well, those roads don't belong there. Same thing with the varices. They don't belong there. They're weak. They can burst. You can bleed internally. I've had about 9 varices binded. Basically what they do is they do an endoscopy, an EGD. They go down through your throat, and they put these bands around it, and they wrap like these miniature little rubber bands, and they pinch off the veins, and then they fall off, and they pass out. They pass through your system. I've had about 9 of them binded. I've had fluid sucked out a bunch of times. I've had a chest tube. My right lung kept filling up really, really bad. It was constantly filling. I would have it drained, and 2 days later it was full again. And it kept on getting infected, what they call gram-positive, which is like a staph infection. So I was hospitalized quite a bit. At my worst, they gave me 90 days to live at that point in time. Last time I checked, my MELD score was 17, and if you know what a MELD score is, it's basically a mathematical problem that they use to determine what your life expectancy is over the next 90 days. So they take 4 different numbers and they combine them, and that's based on your average. I'm about 17, which isn't great. The lowest you'll ever be is 6. So a normal person with a normal liver would be 6. Highest equation would be 40, which is pretty much dead. I was in the mid-30s at one point, so I was in pretty bad shape when I was at my worst. But the other thing is hepatic encephalopathy. That's the other main one. What is that? That is basically ammonia poisoning your brain. They do give a couple medicines for this to help it. Your liver's designed to flush those chemicals out, those ammonias, and send them out through your urine. Well, if it's not working properly, it's not disposing of them. So now it gets in your bloodstream, and you start poisoning yourself. It can do damage to other things, but it affects the brain the most. You wind up forgetting things. You can get a personality change. You could feel completely normal, and next thing you know, you're angry, or you're sad, or you're mad, or you're doing something that makes no sense. It does tend to happen, and I've run into it. I've sent text messages to people and not remember sending them, being like, what was I talking about? You can get confusion, slur your speech. Worst case, you can actually go into a coma. So there's a couple medicines. One's called lactulose. That is a syrup. It's like a heavy corn syrup, and it tastes like pure sugar. It's designed to bind with the ammonia particles and pass through your system. It is a laxative. Definitely not a fun one. It's pretty gross. The other one is Xifaxan or rifaximin. That one's kind of expensive. I think the last time I checked, it was like $3,000 a month. So if you don't have insurance, the company that makes it, from what I hear, will help with that. They have coupons. Also, I think GoodRx is a good one too as well for it. So there are some other options. Check with your pharmacist and they might be able to help you with that. But anyway, one of the main things is keep taking your medicines, stay on top of it, stay eating healthy, stay active, and try to stay positive. That is huge. Stay eating positive. Keep your attitude up there. Find something happy to do. It may not be easy. No one said it's easy. And financially, it is burdening. I have a hard time surviving as it is. I live on disability, and I also have 3 hernias. I tried going back to work, but kept winding up in the hospital. So, yeah, I mean, there are programs out there you can look for. There's not a whole lot in my state, but there are. Every state's got different programs. There's food pantries and stuff like that. Also, the GoFundMe, thank you so much for everybody who's donated to it. It's been a huge blessing. That is linked to the description in this page and to the bio if anybody wants to help. No, you don't have to. That's not why I make these videos. My goal is I just want to help people. But again, thank you to all those people that have helped. I mean, $10, $15, $20 makes a huge difference at the end of the month, right before, you know. So, you know, I've run out of food, and you know, that $15 came in, and it covered a last day or two of food. And trust me, it's a huge blessing, and every dime helps. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for your blessings. Take care of yourself, stay blessed, and stay positive. Bye now.